Want your car's power to come from here and not here? Well, then you'll get amped up over the Nissan Leaf. Retailing for around 26 grand after a $7,500 federal tax credit. It's the first affordable mainstream car that's purely electric.
You know, the general feeling is there's a lot of interest in being electric and zero emission.
Its biggest competitor these days is the Chevrolet Volt.
In ideal traffic and weather conditions using a very light throttle foot, the claimed range of the all-electric Leaf is 100 miles versus 40 for the Volt. However, the Chevy has an onboard gas-powered generator that will never leave you stranded. At the end of the Leaf's range, you've got to charge up.
It takes 7 hours on 220 current, the kind your dryer uses. On regular 110, that rises to 21 hours, so installing a 220 unit is important. In real-world driving, I'm seeing 75 miles per charge. Almost looks like there's a gas engine here, but it's a 107 horsepower electric motor. Batteries are mounted in the floor. Music replaces the familiar engine turnover. The same composer warns pedestrians you're silently skulking around. Horsepower may be low, but 207 foot-pounds of electric motor torque is satisfying. 0 to 60 in 9.5 seconds is about the same as a Prius, feels faster though.
The great thing about the Leaf is it feels like you're driving a regular car, not a golf cart. The big difference, of course, is that there's no gasoline engine sound, just the occasional high-pitched whine from the motor.
Coasting or braking helps to charge the lithium-ion battery. Drive slower, there's an eco mode to help you, and Leaf goes farther with tree icon rewards. At speed, the cabin is fairly quiet, steering is pretty numb, but the low center of gravity makes cornering fun. Leaf easily cruises at realistic highway speeds, but the faster it goes, the shorter the range.
You certainly have to be a little bit more sensitive about your range. We like to call it range management, not range anxiety. Just like on your cell phone, you have to think about plugging it in. You have to think about plugging in your electric vehicle too. It's part of the responsibility to be more responsible, to think a little bit about charging your car. But we think that that's a small kind of price to pay.
Extremely cold conditions cut distance too. So, unlike a gas car, you need to plan a little bit before heading out for the day.
Get down into 20, 15 degrees, your range might go down from 100 to about 60 or 70 miles per range. Car doesn't react badly to heat. Batteries are okay in the heat. Air conditioning is easy in the car, doesn't take a lot of energy, but what really takes a lot of energy is heating the car.
Wake up in the morning and you can remotely preheat or cool the Leaf's cabin with this iPhone app without leaving your nutritious breakfast.
It's best to do this when plugged in because the climate control uses a lot of power, which, you guessed it, reduces range. So does anything powered by electricity.
The other advantage is that your neighbors won't see you like this and in your bunny slippers.
The cabin has a 2-tier instrument panel and a flowing Zen-like motif. Choose any color as long as it's this one. Plastics are hard but look decent. With no engine, the temperature gauge is for the battery. Getting lost is bad for range, so a nav system is standard. A bonus, it can find fast charge stations. Other than a unique shift lever, controls are quite normal. The user interface is simple and straightforward. Since the climate control is electric, heating and cooling is fast. Cup holders are good for both regular Joe and Godzilla, my giant coffee mug. A sunroof is not on the option list. This solar panel helps charge the 12-volt system that runs things like the average sound system.
We are average-sized guys. I've adjusted the seat for a comfortable driving position. Evil twin, yo, how you doing back there? It's actually pretty roomy back here. Foot and leg room is not a problem.
Unlike Chevy Volt, Leaf can carry 3 back here, though there's no armrest. Other gripes? The wheel doesn't adjust for reach, and for those with kids, got to wonder how this fabric will look in a year. Finally, like any electric car, I feel a constant need to plug in.
It's nice that Leaf doesn't use a drop of gasoline, but it is a car and helpful if it's practical.
With the split seats folded, it doesn't have a flat load floor. The cargo area is very deep. A trickle charger is good for emergency top-offs. Leaf scores as well as an average mid-size sedan in the TP trunk test, 6 packs. Pretty decent. Part of what gives Leaf a decent range is great aerodynamics. The undercarriage is remarkably smooth, easier to do when you don't have drive components and an exhaust system to deal with. The blade headlight design diverts air away from the car, pretty different looking. In the styling department, I'll give Nissan props for giving Leaf a much different look than Prius. While I wouldn't call it beautiful, there are all sorts of details that make it interesting. I like the slightly blue chrome. Summing up, Leaf is like driving a car with a 3 or 4 gallon gas tank, one that takes 7 hours to fill. Those who often travel long distances will need a second car. Urban dwellers with the means to install a home charger could find this vehicle perfect.
It's the feeling of kind of contributing to a little bit better environment that we live in. There's no tailpipe, no gas in, no gas out, and it's really a liberating feeling for a lot of people to drive the car.
Clean and quiet. The Nissan Leaf makes new technology feel remarkably familiar. About the cost of the Leaf, different states have different incentives, so you'll have to check where you live to see if you can drive the cost of this car down even further. Talking with an electrician, it appears that installing a 220 charger will run somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,000. Again, there are some tax incentives that can bring that down. They won't be around forever though, and unless you've pre-ordered a Leaf, it could be a long wait. Living with an electric car is a bit different. While the phone app can remind you, it's still possible to forget to charge the car overnight. Could be a bummer. I welcome comments from those who own Leafs. I suspect you're enjoying it. It's a fun car to tool around in, but please share any frustrations too. I'm all about getting a realistic view of a vehicle, especially one this new.
There you go. That is my opinion on the 100% electric Nissan Leaf. Also here on Driven Car Reviews, you'll find pieces on the Chevy Volt, of course, the Tesla Roadster, and the Japanese version of the Mitsubishi i-MiEV. They're bringing an American version over here soon. Check them out. That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.